Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to this new video, and in this video you're going to see me render this character, and this character's name is Fox. This is from an IP called BrotherKit, which is an IP from TaleEnd Studio, and yeah, so here we're just going to see the process for rendering. And this is going to be like the complete rendering of this character, so we're going to see this video in two parts. We have this first part, and then we have a second part after this, which is not as long, so bear with me. And yeah, I also like to apologize for the delay in content. I've been going through a pretty difficult family situation at home, and yeah, so I have to tend to that, and that's the reason why I haven't been able to post as much stuff, on YouTube. I haven't been able to record as many videos, and which I think is good. I think there was a point where I was like, I think maybe an oversaturation of drawing videos because they weren't getting as many views as before. So cutting back on some of them, I think, wouldn't do much harm. So yeah, so in this character, this is it's a female character, and her name is Fox, and yeah, this is an IP from TaleEnd Studios, from my good friend Jake. He's working on this project, which is an all ages project, which is something that we desperately need in CG because there's not a lot of that. And I mean, it's not like it's not like a call to arms or anything like for people to start making those books. No, creators are entitled to make whatever they like. No, but there has been a lack of all ages content, and yeah, it's always a good idea to try to market our books for the youth, because they're the ones who are going to continue with this tradition of making comics and drawing, and so we need more people invested in that. And I think there's no better way to capture their attention than have a book that's aimed and geared towards them. And so yeah, so I'm looking forward to what Jake does with this property, and I'll be definitely sure to back it and support it. And yeah, so as you can see, talking in terms of the art, as you can see in this right now, I'm doing the rendering stage. For the rendering, in this case, I'm using a Copic, and yeah, it's a new favorite of mine. It flows very smoothly, and I like the lines and the things that I'm able to do with it. I think I want to just make this my go-to tool. Hopefully, I can continue to use it further down the road, and yeah, so what I'm doing is just going over some lines that I've drawn before, and rendering in the fabrics. In this case, they're wearing what I'm assuming is a jumpsuit. Looks like a jumpsuit, like a I don't know, like a not like your standard tights for superheroes, but like a suit, like a jumpsuit type thing. I don't know how to describe it, but I had this visual in my head from the references that I was given, and I'm just going by that. And yeah, I think it's coming out pretty good. So yeah, this is actually the last thing that I do in terms of drawing a character. The first thing is the pencil process. I do the roughs, do the layout, and think about the composition and things like that. And like, where do I want these characters to be positioned? And what do I want them to do? How can I harmonize, the movement of all three figures, so that there's not too much attention on any one character, and so you can like see each character equally spread out on the page. And so I'm thinking about that during the roughs. And but yeah, so I do the sketches, then I tighten the pencils up, I start drawing in the details of the characters and the costume, and then I do the line work, which, as you can see here, is pretty basic line work. Just the lines, just that's exactly what it is, just line work. And then after that, I jump into it and start rendering. Rendering consists, in my case, of doing the blacks, which is what I'm doing right now. As you can see, like on the helmet, there's a big black area. The goggles that Fox is wearing also has a black area to it. Also, there's black areas on the costume, so I do those parts first, and then I do rendering lines, as you can see on the top left of the arm, the right arm. It's that's fully rendered out. So I'm going to just try to do that. What I did on the arm, I'm going to just try to do that across the whole figure, and yeah, so that's pretty much the process. In my work, for example, I use a lot of reference material, so I'm glad that Jake was able to supply the references. So I constantly look back to them, make sure that I have the details right. And it's just a personal preference that I have to make sure that I have the characters looking as about right as I can. And yeah, if you take a look to where the phone is at, you'll see that I have Rabbit and Bear. The other two characters in this, have them fully rendered. So this is just the last character that was needed to be rendered, and I'm working on that. And yeah, just going along the same things, the same ideas, just trying to render it out. Working with the common light source, which would be coming from the top. And yeah. As you can see, I switched up now from my Copic, and I'm using the Fudenusuki brush pen. I love this brush pen. It's my favorite inking tool. It's it's the easiest tool that I have. It's the tool that I have that's the easiest to work with, because it gives me I think a perfect balance of a tech pen / brush effect. And I've always been envious of the inkers who can work very well with brushes. Like, for example, Sandra Hope comes to mind. Mark Morales, he always comes to mind. Like, they can handle brush pens really good. Richard Friend, for example, he's a beast with the tools. Walden Wong, they handle brushes really well. And I haven't had access. I haven't really worked with the brush. Like, I don't have that kind of access to brushes here. And just to be frank, just to be honest, like it's more practical for me to work with a brush tip with a brush pen and work with tech pens than it is to work with Crow Quill and inks. My workstation isn't very big, and so and I have to, every time I draw I have to set up, and every time I finish drawing I have to take everything down. So it's not like I go to a set office and the materials are all there laid out. Like, I have to bring stuff out every time I draw. So so you can imagine, like, every time I draw I have to bring out the inks, mix it with the water, just get it just right, play with the brushes, clean the brushes. It's much easier for me, more practical, just to pull out a tech pen or a brush pen. And so also, since I build my lines, I don't have to worry about getting it right on the first time. I could just go back over it, like I'm doing now, for example. I originally do the line art with a very thin line, very thin line, and then I go back over it again with the brush pen or the Copic, and then I make those lines much thicker, or I can give it the thickness that I need, according to what I want. So I have that flexibility with it. So it just works out easier for me. And so yeah, the Fudenusuki is the closest thing I have to a brush, and I like using it. I like that. I like the crisp line it gives. I like the thick to thin effect it has. And the Copic, for example, I like how smooth it is. Like, you'll see I'm working on these parts right here, and it's just a nice thick line. Usually when I do that kind of action with the microns, like some other lines, the ink doesn't come out equally across the stroke. Like from the beginning of the stroke, it'll come out dark, but then as I move my hand outward, the amount of ink starts to lessen. There's a smaller amount of ink comes out, and so the line starts to fade away, kind of. But with the Copic, it's like a consistent line all the way through from the moment that the pen hits the paper to the moment where I flick it outwards. It's a consistent line, and I like that. I like how that comes out. And yeah, but I mean, each person has their own preferences on how they want their lines to come out. Yeah, whatever works for your art, whatever you dig, whatever you like. And this is just what I like. So I like how I'm able to do that. And yeah, so that's the character. Pretty much done rendering this helmet area. I'm just doing some little ticks here or there. Since this is like a jumpsuit type thing, I don't want it to look too. I don't want to give it too much wear and tear. And I want to give it that clean, sharp finish to it. So you won't see me like sprinkling like dots and little lines here and there on this. I'll just leave it as it is like that, and then move forward to the other part, so you can see it there. It's a nice, better picture. And yeah, I also apologize for any rough cuts from one moment to the other. I had to record this in parts. There's a lot of interruptions, and so you'll see like cuts from here or there. And so yeah, so now I'm going towards the character's left arm, and yeah, just doing the same procedure that I did on the right arm. Not too much difference here. And yeah, it was a fun character to draw. I like drawing flexible characters, characters that you can pose in many different ways. This character, for example, has a whip, and there's just so much you can do with a whip. And there's just so many curves, and yeah, I like drawing characters like that. This is one of the reasons why Spider-Man is one of my favorite characters, because he's that agility. You can pose him in many different ways, and it's always great trying to find a pose that tests his limits. So yeah, so that's a character that I love drawing, and so this is no different. I can put this character in a really strange pose, and it works. It works. And yeah, this is what I'm doing right now. It's called the contour. This is the outer edge. I don't know what to think of this, because I've seen artists that do a thick contour, like for example Frank Cho, and who is this other artist? Art Adams, in some cases, has a very thick contour line, and I dig that. But then there's also other artists that don't mess too much with contour, like Brett Booth. Jim Lee comes to mind also. He doesn't mess too much with contours. Jet Li's philosophy is that if the line is towards the light source, make it as thin as possible, and sometimes non-existent. And if the line is in the shadow, make it as thick as it's necessary. And so I don't know, different strokes for different folks, I guess. And so I don't know what would be the best way to approach it, but so far I've just been used to like doing a contour around the whole thing, and then rendering. Excuse me, I'm sorry. In the lines of similar to what Art Adam does, and similar to what was the artist I mentioned? Art Adam, and I just slipped my mind. But yeah, so that's the contour. Now I'm doing this outer edge. These outer curves. I use French curves for most of my lines like this, because I don't have the confidence in my by hand to do those kinds of lines, because normally I would draw a line like that and then it get all squiggly and then it just look a mess, and I want a sharp, crisp line. So in many cases I just resort to using those French curve things. But every now and then, like today, for example, I just feel that I can handle it with the Fudenosuke, and then I just try to use it, and that's what you see me doing right now. And yeah, me doing that on camera, yeah, yeah, man, I got a lot of balls doing that because that could have come out really bad. And but yeah, whatever. Yeah, there's whiteout. You can always use whiteout. Although I hate using whiteout. I hate using whiteout. I just have a, I don't know. I just whiteout to me. I don't know. I guess it must be some kind of psychological thing. But whiteout to me is like an indicator of a mistake, of an area where you messed up. And for example, like if you're working with pencils, you can erase, and then the viewer, the person looking at the art, would never know that you erased because it's gone. But when you use whiteout, there's a big blob of white there, and so it's like a reminder that in that area you failed or something. I don't know. It was just crazy. But yeah, but I need to get rid of that thought, because for example, I see what artists like Jim Lee, he like just goes crazy with the whiteout. It's like he draws and then he draws again with the whiteout, and so it just harmonizes that. So I have to find a way to like just get rid of that thought. Rob Willis, for example, he's not a mainstream artist. He's an indie artist. He works a lot with CG, and he's got amazing inks. And he for example, like he'll render with black, and then in some areas, like rim lighting areas, he'll render with white, and it's crazy. It gets these really cool effects. And but he uses, for example, a crow quill. And so like that's one of the advantages of using crow quill in that case, because you can dip it in white paint, or you can dip the crow quill in I don't think he goes as far as using whiteout for that. I think he told me one time he uses like gouache or something, gouache or white. I'm not sure. If he's listening to this, let me know. But yeah, he dips his crow quill in some white substance for for like painting. And then he gets those lines also, and yeah, it's crazy, So I need to lose that thought of fearing of using the whiteout, because it works just as well. And yeah, so you can see what I'm doing here. I've sketched, rendered out the arm, the glove. I'm going to the hand. And yeah, I'm playing everything by ear. Like if you've noticed, like there's no pencil marks on the character that has any indication of what the rendering lines are going to be. Like for example, behind the character there's a sash. It's like an S-shaped sash. I didn't do the pencil rendering on it, so I don't know what I'm going to do there. So it's the same thing with the rest of the character. Like I just have no idea how I'm going to render that. And I always keep saying that there's a benefit and a disadvantage to that. The benefit being that I'll be able to like I'll have the character line, like all the line work done, and then I can just pick a light source and then render according to the light source, and I can change the light source at any time that I want. No, prior to inking. Once I start inking, then it can't change. But prior to that, I can put the light source at the top, at the bottom, left or right, and then whatever I feel is needed. Now that's one benefit. And then one disadvantage, for example, is if you don't know where you're rendering, you could probably render something that later looks crappy. It doesn't look as good as you should, and then how are you going to fix it? So it's almost like winging it, and so sometimes winging it can be good. Sometimes winging it can bring disastrous results. So yeah, I mean, I guess also I get to a point where I've drawn so much that I know how to wing certain areas because I've done them so many times. So I feel that I can get to that one day. Not sure if I will, but I feel that I could potentially get to that one day. And yeah, so here I'm rendering the back. Also taking into consideration this is a female character, and females normally they aren't heavily rendered. Yeah. You know, and they're not heavily rendered, but just trying to balance it out as much as I can. And yeah, just going to town. One thing that I could tell you, tell everyone watching this, is that I'm recording this without any kind of. I'm recording my voice after I've drawn, so I'm looking back at this, after I've done it. But while I was actually inking this, I wasn't thinking about what I'm gonna say. I wasn't thinking about anything. So what you see me ink right now is just me actually going to town and just inking as I best see fit. And so yeah, so what you've seen me do is it's just me getting in the zone and just inking what I can. And yeah, I'm sorry for the delay. I'm looking at some kind of reference. Always check references, make sure that I have everything right. Taking a look at the belt, taking a look at the design on the leg part, because now what I have to render next is the leg area, and so I want to make sure that I have those designs right. The designs on the belt, I want to make sure I have them right. See, for example, I'm drawing all those things on the belt without having drawn them previously with the pencil. So I mean, I don't know, man. That's pretty ballsy. Because I could mess that up, and then what can I do? But yeah, so that's pretty much it for the video. If you like this video, please hit the like button, share the video out, subscribe to the channel. The more likes this gets, the more it'll get shared out across YouTube. So I would appreciate any likes. I have part 2. It's gonna come out soon, and I'll try my best to get some more content out to you guys. And be sure to also follow Jake from TaleEnd Studios so you can see what happens to the rest of this image and what is going to become of BrotherKit. And be sure to follow me and subscribe to my channel so you can see more drawing videos like this. I'm also doing interviews on the Ominous Morning Show, so please stay tuned and check that out. And that's it. I'll just leave you with the music, and I'll catch you in the next video. Take care. Hello, everyone. The time is finally upon us. Ominous Avenging Death is now available. Avenging Death is a short 10-page story that serves as a preview of what kind of art you can expect and the world you'll see in the main story of Ominous. In Avenging Death, we'll see Zadok take on the monstrous Deathmonger in a 10-page fight scene that'll be sure to get you hooked into the world of Ominous. All of the artwork is done, including the line art, which was done by me, the colors, which were done by Emmanuel Orlas, and the lettering, which was done by Paul Bird. So grab your copy of the digital PDF file today for only $5. That's right, $5. Contact me in my DMs on Twitter for more information. Now, coming up next is the official trailer of Ominous Avenging Death. Enjoy.